How are we today, guys? Welcome back. Today is going to be a little bit of a video about the people you admire aren't trying to impress you, or really anyone for that matter. So, I want to talk a little bit about why I think that is, and maybe how you can apply this to your own life. So, let's get started. So, if you think about it, right? A lot of the people that we meet day to day, especially profound people that are not necessarily the most famous people, but they just have that vibe about them, you know? And it really just kind of pulls you in, and you can't even help but learn more about them, and maybe going up to them and just striking up a conversation, trying to learn more from them to see if you can pick apart the details and figure out what it is about them that really makes them so just easy to speak to, and what makes it effortless for them, you know? And what I think it is it's one of those things where the more you do, the less you can really think about the other people around you. And I think people like seeing someone who can just do their own thing and not really worry what the people around them think. There's something about watching someone do things, their passions, what they're good at, without any worry of another person and what their opinions might be. Is I think that's what's really what gets a lot of people. And there's this like really cool quote that I actually saw on an Instagram reel of all things. And it was, to conduct the orchestra, you have to turn away from the crowd. And when I thought about that quote, I was like, wow. Because the more I thought about it, the more I realized that that is just so right. There's nothing more true than that type of statement, which honestly is why I started doing this YouTube channel. Because I realized that if I want to make something of myself, if I want to make what we can say good music worth an orchestra, you got to be able to face away from the crowd. And I think it's symbolic because facing away from the crowd is kind of a way of putting it as, you don't need to see what the people behind you think. You don't need their opinions. You don't need their judgment. All that matters to you is making sure that the people in front of you, your work, what you really strive to do, all that matters is that. I think that's something that people should try to think more of. Because why should we care of what the people around us think when it comes to what we do for fun, for passion, for hobby, especially if it's an interest of ours? I don't think it's something that we should be entirely concerned about what the people around us think, you know? So, whatever it is for you, um, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, maybe you have some sort of business that you are hesitating to start on, I honestly think that that type of quote is just so profound. And I think that it could actually help people break out of that waiting period. That waiting period that they might have that is preventing them from starting. And I recommend that everybody starts. I don't think it's a bad idea if you started, to be honest. So I don't exactly know what to say next, but we'll figure it out. I guess what we could talk about next How do you apply this to your own life, just outside of a content creation, business context? This could be applied to maybe a new sport, especially something like weightlifting. This is applicable very heavily because when I started, I wasn't big. Um, I looked very skinny, and it looked like I shouldn't be in the gym, even though reality is that's the inverse. I should be, especially if I was skinny. So, for maybe you guys, the viewer, if you have most of that stuff on track, what else can you do? And the only way you can answer that is, having an honest conversation with yourself, one that really forces you to look yourself in the mirror and find out what it is that is holding you back. What is preventing you from becoming the person that you want to be? What stops you? And once you identify those blockers, I think it's almost so important, it's paramount that after you identify that blocker or blockers, that you do anything possible to remove them. The way I see it is like you want to have as little friction as possible in your life. So if you don't have much friction, as far as your quality of life and what makes you a living, I think your life is very good. To be honest, I think your life is very good, and you should be thankful and you should be grateful for yourself for the opportunities afforded to you that not everybody has in the world, which is I need to do more of that myself. So I guess what else we could talk about is, why some people try to impress the people around them. So why do people do that? Well, I think it comes from what I like to call social pressure. And to me, social pressure is when there's a lot of people, opinions, eyeballs, and just, anybody who is putting not actual, but figurative pressure on you to be someone that you may not totally be. And, that's going to happen in life. That happens all the time. But I think it's in recognizing the social pressure, that's where you'll realize that you really need to learn to just turn away from the audience. Everybody in your life who's not actually contributing to you succeeding, I would see them as an audience member. Let them be a part of the crowd and watching you conduct. And everybody loves to have their own success story about how, everybody kind of didn't believe in them and then they did it themselves. I think that's what you should strive for. Live your life out in that fantastical way. You don't have to dumb it down. I don't see a point in dumbing your life down so it doesn't sound less cool. Your life should be as cool as possible. If it's possible, and if it's within reason, I think you should try to do the coolest shit you can in your life. So you can have almost like dad lore, You want to have some sick lore that you can tell people, which makes you just that more interesting without even needing to try. And people get interested through, a bunch of different avenues, but some of the biggest ones being how composed you are is actually striking. It's insane how many people become interested in somebody who's well composed, especially under heavy social pressure or just in stressful scenarios. Another big one is like humor. I think those are two character traits that most people would benefit from. Excellent composure and well-timed witty humor. Those are the two things that really set people apart as far as, what they'll be remembered for, especially in social settings. 100%. 100%. Anyways, I kind of want to pivot a little bit and give you guys a little update because a lot of things have happened since I last recorded. Um, so, for about the past 2 months, I've been working with a very close friend of mine, my cousin actually, and he has his own page on Instagram. And I had contacted him and I said, hey, I think I could help you grow your social media and just help your content out a lot. And I said, I'll work for free. And it's been good. It's been really good. A lot of good things have happened. I've tripled his following. I don't even know how many views I've pulled in for him since. A fair bit. I would say it's I think it's like just at 100,000 viewers, total views so far in 2 months. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about maybe what it taught me, um, as far as conducting myself in a way that's more entrepreneurial that I don't think everybody kind of talks about. But it definitely taught me how to speak on a level that isn't corporate, because every email you send to people, it's always super formalized and all these other things, right? There's all these unspoken rules that you have to follow. But my cousin and I, we call each other pretty frequently, and we DM each other all the time. He comes to me with things that people send him, more exclusive brand deals, or he'll call me and give me insights on, things that are very exclusive in his niche that he received that not everybody else does. So, I think a little bit of success takes luck, and thankfully I feel like I have a lot of luck. And it's just been going really good for my cousin, and he's getting a little overwhelmed now, to the point where I'm helping him with more operations and anything like that. And I know there's like the whole don't do business with family thing, but you have to get started somehow. And utilizing every connection you have, I think, is an underrated strategy that not everybody says to do, but maybe it's supposed to be understood. But I think it needs to be explicitly stated that you should try to contact everyone you know who is a potential client and work for them for free for some time until you get them some proof. And then I think that's when you pull the trigger. Once you get that money, that's when you should be advocating for yourself. Seriously. I'm probably going to talk to him about it, and maybe tomorrow or in a few days. I'm not exactly sure, but my timeline has been wildly pushed forward. I didn't think it was going to be this quick that something like this happened, but I'm not complaining. So, I feel like I've done a fair bit for him. I do a lot of advisory things for him, as well as helping him make assets and scripts and anything he really needs. Anything that, is within reason of what I discussed that I could do for him. So, I don't know. I found something I really like, and I enjoy it a lot. So I can't wait to go into like this next step with him, because I see a lot of potential in everything. And I'm gonna obviously advocate for him heavy. So I'm just glad that I found a client and that we're actually getting stuff done, and it's not just a waste of both of our time. Sorry, this isn't a very like inspirational video today. I don't know. This is a good video topic and all that, but I don't know. I'm not feeling upset. Usually when I film videos, I'm a little upset with something, and I'm not that upset right now. So I apologize if my video wasn't super profound. I do want to say though, I realized the audio in my past videos was not the absolute best, so hopefully this is a little better. I apologize for that. I didn't realize it was so low or a little spotty. So hopefully these videos are a little more going forward at least, a little more consistent with the audio. I apologize if it's not. I'm doing my best. I'm new, so I'm sorry about that if it bothers anybody. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna put my Instagram in the description of this video, so I think you guys should check it out. You don't have to if you don't want. I would appreciate any kind of critiques or really anything. Any comments, any thoughts on the title of the video, anything that I said would be greatly appreciated. I think that's all I'm going to talk about today, guys. So, yeah. Peace.